There is the final whistle. Wrexham lose on the road again, but a very different story from some of those recent losses. Wrexham fluent in the first half, impressive in the first half, I'd say. But Gillingham knocking the ball long, looking good on set pieces, had their threats too. And then in the second half, we didn't get that rhythm going so well. And a nicely worked set piece allowed Gillingham to get the decisive goal. But you know, you look at this game and you feel I liked a lot about our performance, but ultimately it's another loss on the road and a huge disappointment.
It is disappointing, and I think it's that classic story, being made to ruin missed chances. There was nothing really clear cut other than Stephen Fletcher's overhead kick in the second half. We had a lot of the ball, moved it really well, and just did not create enough, and we were made to pay through a set piece. Arthur Conquerors had a relatively quiet game, and it's really disappointing. We made progress on the road, good performance in the end to get over the line against Sutton. Not the most great performance on the eye, but it was a good result to get. MK Dons played really well on Tuesday, and there was a 15-20 minute period there where we had chances, didn't take them, and today's the same story again. We've been undone.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily have come out of these two away games with 6 points. These two,
for sure.
It's really frustrating, to be honest. The way we moved the ball around in the first half was a joy to watch. But like you said, we got into good positions a lot. We didn't maybe get enough good service into the box for the strikers to capitalise, and that was maybe the whole story. Although that was a hell of a let-off for Gillingham, that incredible double save from Lee and then from Fletcher in the second half.
Yeah, it really was good from Morris, and he was outstanding, I think, through the whole way through the game. Committed himself to crosses, wasn't afraid to come out and challenge someone like Stephen Fletcher there and put his hand in there, maybe where it hurts. But ultimately we just didn't do enough, and I think then where we imposed ourselves on Gillingham, we spoke about that clash of styles before the game. That was the complete opposite in the second half. It completely flipped. The goal gave Gillingham momentum, and actually we drew ourselves into the way that they play. It doesn't suit the way that we play at all. I think we saw it similar to Newport, albeit we had 10 men. It was similar not so long ago. I can't remember who was against. It might have been Walsall. No, Salford, that's who it was. And today, in the second half, we just didn't quite have enough to get that equaliser.
I mean, it's got to be said though, I mean, the Gillingham fans and players are celebrating like they've just won the league. The celebrations when they scored were remarkable, and I mean, look at it just goes to show how much teams are pumped up against it. I know they are, but I mean, when you last see a team celebrate after a league win, it's mad.
It is mad, and I think, well, again, it's almost that little bit of respect towards us where it is important we see sellout crowds to come. But also, you have to say fair play to Gillingham. They've packed out the ground, they've made it in the end. Once they got the goal, it was a good atmosphere. And in the end, on the balance of the second half, once they got themselves ahead, that we didn't do enough to get back into it. And that's the way that they play. And we've come undone to it.
Yeah, I don't mean to belittle them in saying that. They have their way of playing, and I thought they did very well. They had to hang in at times in the first half, but they defended well. They got a lot of clean sheets this season, basically a lot of them top-loaded at the start of the season, but they have got a lot of clean sheets, and you should see why the way they defended in the second half, and when they were under pressure in the first half, they didn't really open them up. So from their point of view, unlike Milton Keynes, who I thought were poor and got away with it on Tuesday, Gillingham did execute extremely well, I thought. Just frustrating for Wrexham that when we got on top of the game in the first half, didn't capitalise upon it.
And I think again that just came down to not creating enough clear-cut chances. We had such great possession. You go back to the Ryan Barney and James McLean, the way they linked them in midfield is something I really want to see again. But it just wasn't enough, was it, in the end?
Absolutely. So real frustration for Wrexham. Another away defeat, although not the sort of performances we were putting in on the road when defeats were really starting to rack up at the start of this year. But still, Wrexham on the road again, another long journey next Tuesday to Forest Green Rovers, and will want to make sure that the game against the bottom team in the division ends in the way that you might expect it to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have games coming back to back. when we're in this kind of position, because you can then try to pick up points again. But also Forest Green are a side that have been having a bit of a resurgence, new manager there, and they'll be fighting for their lives. It'll be similar to Sutton, and it's one where it could be a bit, it will be a big 3 points for us to just go and correct that record again on the road.
Absolutely so. Frustration on the road for Wrexham, with the final score of Gillingham 1, Wrexham 0. We've been Mark Griffiths and Matt Waters from Wrexham AFC.